Hey Veer, you've seen the title of the video, you know what this is about. I'm going to show you what settings to use, what of the game to use to maximize your experience on Hypixel. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump right into it. Alright, and so now we're on the desktop, and the first thing you have to do, obviously, is open the game launcher. Don't worry about that. And so you may be tempted to just click on play. But we're not going to do that. We're going to not play on 1.16.5, but 1.8.9. The reason for this is that Hypixel is actually run on 1.8.9, and 1.16.5 is only working due to a translation layer. But this translation layer has many glitches and bugs, which will be very frustrating, such as blocks disappearing, random lag backs, you can't swim in water, things like that. Just a horrible experience overall in 1.16, right? And so here's what we're going to do to play on 1.8.9. We're first going to click on installations. We're then going to click on new. I'm going to title it 1.8.9. I'm going to change the icon to a block of redstone. I'm going to change the version to 1.8.9. Now I'm going to hit create. And just like that, in our installations tab, we can see 1.8.9. Now, do keep in mind, the warning heeds true. If that's something you're concerned with, click off the video right now. This is going to be solely based around this. Just continue to play on 1.16.5. I understand the risk. I'm going to move on. Now that the game's loaded, sorry I took a quick dinner break. Don't worry, it doesn't take that long to load, but I took a dinner break. And so, now I'm back. The game's running. The first thing I'm going to do is turn off this Minecraft music. So follow me if you want to do that. Options, music and sound. Music off. I'm also going to set my weather to 50% because I find it to be too loud at 100. And now instead of clicking the square to make the game bigger, I'm going to hit done, go to video settings, and I'm now going to click this full screen toggle to on. Now in just a second, I know OBS takes a little while to not go black. By now it should hopefully, you should see my option screen, but much bigger. And this is exactly how I see it when I'm playing. It's pretty nice. So now I want you to copy my settings, and then there's these last two settings that I'll talk about at the end. Alright, now that that's done, these two options are preference based. I prefer to have my GUI scale set to normal. That's how big I prefer things to be on my screen. But the issue is that some people prefer it much larger, some people prefer it much smaller. It just really depends. Also, clouds, I prefer them to off. If you want them on, leave them to fast. But I prefer them off. Alright, now we're going to log on to Hypixel. So I'm going to hit done, done, multiplayer. And now we're going to add a server. Server name is Hypixel. And the server address is mc.hypixel.net. And there you go. There's Hypixel. I'm going to double click it. It's going to open up. And just like that, we're on Hypixel. You'll see that your FPS will probably not be this good. It'll probably be okay, right? But it'll be okay. It won't be super good, but it'll be okay, right? Now I'm going to get to the topic of controls, because in my opinion at least, default controls just aren't that good. So here's what we're going to change. First, I want to change the toggle perspective key, which is this, because being able to look behind you is really cool. Because look, I can go into this view and look behind me, which is something I would otherwise have to turn around and do that for, right? And I would lose my sprint and everything, right? Right, so I'm going to set that now to R. Pause, options. Remember, to press pause, you press escape, then you press options, then you press controls, and then I'm going to set my toggle perspective key to R, right? And so now I can press R, and boom. You see that? I can look behind me now. Perfect. Next topic I want to go to is sprinting, because having a sprint key is vital to playing this game really well. And here's why, right? So let's say I'm sprinting, right? After double pressing W, and I'm sprinting. And watch, if I hit something, I lose my sprint, right? You see that very clearly, that I lose my sprint if I hit something after double pressing W. But watch, if I hold the default sprint key, which is control, and I hold W, you see, after I'm done with this, I'm now sprinting. I'm moving much faster again. I didn't have to let go and double press W again. And that may be the difference between life and death if somebody's chasing you, right? So basically, the best sprint keys are either pressed with your right hand or with your pinky or thumb, because you don't want your at least it's not preferred to have your sprint key be something that is any of the buttons that you would also use to control your character, because it prevents you from strafing left and right while you're sprinting, right? So my personal preference is to set this to button 4 on my mouse, which is this button right here, right? And so now it's my sprint key, and that's my perspective. Now we're going to get to the final point, which is hotbar slots. Having dedicated hotbar keys is a really good way to make sure that you become much more consistent at swapping between items. Because let's say I'm in a game of I don't know, Bed Wars, and there's a guy chasing me, and I know I have a pearl in my 9 slot that I could use to run away, right? Go to another island, whatever. But I accidentally overshift it, and that wasn't even intentional. I was supposed to land on it. But you see, I accidentally overdo it, and now I'm on something that isn't the pearl, and I could probably be dead just from that mistake, right? And so having dedicated hotbar keys is pretty vital. So here's the ones that I would recommend right here. 5 is Q, 6 is F, 7 is G, 8 is V, and 9 is B. And your drop item key, because it conflicts, you're now going to set to Y. And the reason I have you set drop item to Y is because you're going to be using your 5 slot a lot more than you're going to be dropping items in normal PvP gameplay, right? So now that I've covered that topic, we're now going to move on to the topic of mods, you see. So the first thing I want to show you how to do is install Optifine. Optifine is a mod that allows you to do 2 things. 1, get a lot more FPS, and B, oh, not 1 and B, 1 and 2 allows you to have a zoom feature, right? And so I'm now going to show you how to install that. Alright, so now we're on the desktop. So what I want you to do is open your browser of choice, whether that's Chrome, Edge, whatever. I'm using Edge because it's just there by default. And what you're going to want to do is go to optifine.net, just like that. So now you're going to click on optifine.net, and this is the web page that you should be on by now. You're then going to click on downloads, click on show all versions, and you're going to scroll until you hit Minecraft 1.8.9. You are then going to download this, and you are then going to open this. Now, in order to open this, you'll need a program called Java. In order to get Java, open a new tab and go to java.com. Pretty simple. And now you're going to click on Java download, and you are then going to click on agree and start free download, and you are going to run that program first. You're going to run this. Oh, I don't actually want to open that. And you're going to go through the setup, in order to install Java. After you've installed Java, you can then double click this and click on Install. Now, if you haven't run 1.8.9 regular before, it's going to give you an error letting you know that you need to run it just like this before you can install Optifine. But now you click here and we can see we have Optifine. Again, no player safety features, proceed at your own risk. So now we're going to play on Optifine. I understand the risk. Let's continue. Now we're going to once again log on to Hypixel. There we go. You can see running around nice and good, but you'll see that you will see basically no FPS dips using Optifine. Basically none. Oh, yes, my max frame rate is unlimited for some reason. If we set it to 90, like it was before, then you should see that I'll be just fine. Right, with my FPS. And so now I'm going to log off of Optifine, and here's your zoom feature, by the way. Just like that, really nice and smooth. And just like that, you have Optifine and really good FPS. Now I'm going to show you how to install Badlion Client. I am now going to get into possibly the trickiest installation of the video, which is the installation of Badlion Client. You can see I've already installed it on my PC, but I'm going to show you how to install it anyway. So first you're going to open your web browser, and you're going to go to badlion.net, just like that. Spelled exactly like that. B-A-D-L-I-O-N. Literally, no spaces, no nothing. You're going to accept all your cookies, whatever. And now you see where it says client and it shows like a little down arrow. You're going to click right here. And you see you have Windows download and Mac download. So whichever type of computer you have, you can do it. And so I would pick the Windows download. So I'm going to click it. And you'll see it'll download the setup file onto my computer. And then I have to open this. If it gives you a warning like this, you just hit install anyway. Now it's going to ask for your password or your PIN from this computer. So provide that. You're going to have to agree to this license agreement and you're going to have to install Badlion. Now I've already installed Badlion on my PC, right? So since I've installed Badlion, now you can see it's on my desktop. I'm going to double click it. It's going to ask for my password or PIN again, right? Every time you open this, just keep that in mind. That is something you have to do. Now the reason for this is that Badlion has something really cool. It has an inbuilt anti-cheat, meaning that people who play on Badlion Client cannot cheat very easily, right? And so you can see mine's already set up, but yours will probably look something like this when you first start. Log into Badlion or register your Badlion account. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to register your Badlion account, and then you're going to get on to the next step. Let me log in. Hey viewer, turns out something super unfortunate happened. All the footage of Badlion Client just got lost, so this is the re-recording of it. So if some things look like they're already set up, it's because they were. Alright, so we're going to double click Badlion Client. Once again, I'm going to enter my PIN. And so it should once again open. Now that I've logged in. Right? Now I do want to point out that you will have to sign in with your Minecraft account in as well. So you'll have two accounts. You'll have a Badlion account and a Minecraft account. And you have to sign in with both. Right? Your Minecraft account is your actual account. This one, right? And your Badlion account is its own thing. So the next step is to click on BAC and make sure you install it. You're just going to click on install BAC and you're going to want to make sure it's installed. It's really, really important that you get that installed. After it is installed, you're going to click on play. and you're going to click on launch. I'll get back to you once this is installed. Alright, now I'm hoping and praying that you can see the game. So what you're going to first do is click get started. Make sure you're on dark theme. This is personal preference. If you want to see more mods at a time, do the sidebar one. If you want it to look better, click the center one. I prefer center. That's what I'm going to do. Now we're going to hit next. I'd say if you want to go for the Bed Wars or Sky Wars defaults, go for them. If not, just stay on vanilla and hit next. Now mod background color, I'd say black looks much better than gray. So continue with black. Hit next. Text shadow just depends. If you have a good PC, enable it. If you have a bad PC, disable it. I'm going to enable it. I'm going to hit next. Congrats, you're set up. And so I'm going to hit get started. I'm going to X this out. I'm going to log on to Hypixel. Right. Now I'm logged on to Hypixel. Now the first thing you're going to notice is that disabled mods tag. That means that those mods can't be used on Hypixel. Don't really worry about them. Just no, they're not enabled on Hypixel, so you can't enable them if you want to. So don't worry about that. The second thing you'll notice is this chat is really small. Now the issue, sadly, is that there's a bug with this chat that makes it broken, basically, and unusable. And so you have to disable it, because what happens is you can't actually see any messages that come in chat when you press D, which isn't super cool. So what you're going to want to do is hit right shift, settings, chat, and you're going to want to turn off use badline chat. Now I'm going to X this out, and now I'm going to show you all the mods. So we're going to hit right shift again. You're going to want animations mod on if you want some silly stuff, right? So by default, this will be off. I'm going to turn it on. I prefer everything but the throwing animation. I think this throwing animation on 1.7 looks really bad right now, so I left it like this, right? The thrown items from 1.7 just doesn't look that good. So I'd say leave it as is. Other than that, armor status, incredibly useful one. Lets you see the durability of your armor wherever you want. I prefer it like down here, roughly, on my screen. If this is the screen, I prefer it down here next to the hotbar. Put it wherever you prefer it. Display mode, I would recommend setting to bar. And durability position, set it where you want it. The display orientation, set it how you want it again. And other than that, you're done with that one. Now we're going to hit X. We're going to continue. Click on chat and make sure you have infinite history on. If you're into anti-spam, where if somebody says the same message over and over in the chat, it will just put in X2, X3, X4. Do that. If I'm not into that, I'll leave it off. Clear glass and clear water are life changers. So clear glass allows you to see through glass. Really simple. I would recommend, if you don't have a pack that already does this. That's the thing. If you don't have a pack that already does this, turn it on. Also, clear water, amazing mod. It basically lets you see way, way nicer looking water. It looks like really, really like real life. Really crazy mod. Oh, I got kicked for AFK. No problem. Just going to go ahead, hit right shift, and I'm going to continue. The next thing is the CPS mod. It's a fine mod, but I would recommend using keystrokes over CPS. The next one is Fulbright. Oh, I accidentally dragged it. Let's put it back. You can see when I turn it on and off, you see how things get brighter, less yellowed out. Right? I would recommend that one highly. Inventory blurs if you want it. Item counter, turn that on. Click it and turn off everything you don't want. I only want arrows, so I only have arrows on. Right? Now I'm going to X this. Now I'm going to turn on keystrokes. This is where I said why I said keystrokes is better. So now we're going to go to keystrokes, and I'm going to delete everything but LMB and RMB, which is your left button and your right button. So now we're going to move on. We're going to turn on level head. This is always a good one, really. Motion blur if you're into that. Particles, if you have a good PC, turn this on. If not, do not turn that on under any circumstance. I would recommend leaving it at around 2 or 3. X this out. Perspective mod, turn it on if you want. If not, don't. I would recommend this one highly, though. You can either leave it as the Alt key. That's L menu. Is actually Alt. I don't know why they call it L menu. It's L Alt. Or you can make it an F5 menu where if I put, right, this is my F5, and then boom, this is free look. This is just part of F5. So if you're into that, do that. I don't like that on. I just prefer mine to be a certain button. One that I highly recommend is caps, because it's just right above shift, not too far away, right, but it gets the job done. Caps lock is an actual button you can use. Replay mod, only mess with if you really want to. I would recommend turning off timers. Not really a good one. And zoom, I would recommend turning on. It's an incredibly good one. Click this and set it to whatever you want. I would say C because that's the same as Optifine. It will be red, but it works just fine. Now here's the final thing I needed to say. Remember how I told you there was one thing? Oh wait, hold on. One more thing. We need to go to right shift and click this button for GUI editor. And now you can move everything around how you want it. Now here's how I prefer it. That like there. Oh god, that is a pretty severe glitch. Oh god. What is going on? Alright. This is not the experience I need. Okay, you know what? We're not going to mess with that, but you can. You probably won't get the same glitch as me. I haven't gotten it before, so there's no reason for you that I would get it now. Except for it's probably because I tried to clear as many settings as possible. It probably messed something up. Don't really worry about that though. But the final thing is toggle sprint. What toggle sprint allows you to do is to toggle whether you want sprinting on or off. So I don't have to hold the button on the or hold your sprint key. So right now it's toggled on. Right now it's toggled off. On, off. On, off. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like or sub if you loved it.